Hi, and thanks for tuning in to the CBA Podcast, a place where we chat about our own recent achievements in the area of electronics, software and mechanical engineering, and more likely than not, give excuses for not having done anything at all. This week we'll be talking about iTunes, maker fairs, electromagnetic fields camp, a resistor box, a slow digital signal box, and a signal conversion box. So, again this week Piotr has no time, so it's a solo podcast again. I don't know how sad that is, but let's do it anyway. First, let's talk a little bit about iTunes. I would like to register this podcast on iTunes, which would mean that it would be found in a lot of apps on the phone that only search in the iTunes podcast database. So, when you search for this podcast right now or search for CBA, you will probably find nothing or something else. So that will change as soon as we register this podcast with iTunes, except ran into a little problem there. iTunes apparently requires you to have credit card information when you register an account on the iTunes store. I don't want to do that because I'm not intending to buy something there. So apparently it's possible to do that without a credit card. Please don't reply if you think this is possible, because I really think it's not. And I had contact with help desk, and they acknowledged that it was not possible anymore, at least now. So I'm jumping through some hoops to try to make that work anyway, but we'll see how that turns out. Now, there are some events coming up, and one of those is Maker Faire. And there are some local Maker Fairs here. I'm in the Netherlands. And in the Netherlands, there's, I think, only one is in Eindhoven. That was earlier this year, I think. Nearby in Germany, well, Germany's bigger, but I have the feeling that there's a lot more Maker Faire stuff going on there, so I like to go there. Earlier this year, I went to the Hanover Maker Faire with a friend of mine, so I had a good time there, and it was quite big and interesting people. And the year before that, I think in October 2016, I went to Maker Faire Berlin, met the same guy there, so had a good time as well. That was also big. I don't know which of the two is bigger, but there was a good atmosphere with both Maker Fairs, so both locations. Now, there's some Maker Fairs coming up. So first is in February is the Maker Faire in Lille in France. Now, I'm not going there because I choose not to go there. That's why. Then in March there's a Maker Faire in Dortmund. That's from my place, from Eindhoven. That's quite close by. And the location there is really super cool. It's a technology museum, or actually it's a work museum, something like that. So they have all kinds of things related to work and to jobs and to production and technology as well. And it's really, really nice atmosphere there. So I would like to go there. I'm not sure if I would want to go alone or man a stand alone. In Hanover we were with 2 people there. In Berlin it's most of the time just me. And it's a bit tedious doing it alone because you don't really have time to look around yourself, and you're always thinking, oh, I have to get back to my own stand because people might be waiting for someone to answer a question and I'm not there. So that's not nice. So I'm looking for some people to go there with me to man a stand together, and both of us have a little bit more time to walk around. Maybe 2 or 3 people, don't know. So I'm asking around a bit for that. If you're interested, you can contact me. So that's in March in Dortmund. Then in May, there's the Berlin Maker Faire coming up. Now, Berlin is from where I am about, I think 6 hours one-way drive. So I'm not too keen on going there. Plus you have to pay for a hotel and so on. I probably want to have 1 or 2 days extra to relax a little bit. So I don't think I'm going to do that. Then in September, there's the Maker Faire in Hanover again. Not sure if I want to go there. Maybe if I have a nice new project to show or go together with someone else, then yeah, else maybe not. We'll see. Now in September, there's also something else I've never been to, but I would like to go there very much. That's the Electromagnetic Fields Camp in England. Not sure where that is. I think under to the south of London or something like that. I'm not really sure. Now, other people who've been there say it's 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 an outdoor event. It's a multi-day outdoor event. So you bring your tent if you want, and you camp on the event, on the festival ground, and there's lectures and stuff to do, and look at other people's project and probably talk and have a good time. So what I heard is that the emphasis with electromagnetic fields compared to SHA 2017, which was earlier this year, the emphasis in England would be more on creativity and making stuff, while I think the emphasis at SHA 2017 was more on computer security and privacy and hacking and lockpicking and whatnot. And to be honest, I'm not too interested in that. So let's see what the England stuff is. So again, I'm looking a little bit for people to go there together. So we'll see how that turns out. So that's some events coming up. And actually the Maker Faire and also that electromagnetic fields and other events give me like an opportunity or stimulate me to get off my ass and make something. So that was that upcoming stuff. What I finished just now, I talked about last time as well, was a Resistor Box, basically 230 volt resistive load, simply using switches connecting resistor boards to the 230 AC supply coming in. So you can configure a load from 100 watts to 240 watts and 20 watt increments by flipping switches, basically. That's no intelligence, just switches connecting boards to the mains, connecting and disconnecting boards. So build that out of an old, out of two new PC cases, so 240 watts each, and it works fine, and it's quite nice. Except I don't think you can turn it on at full power for very long. I measured after approximately 15 minutes or 30 minutes, I measured the top of the enclosure. Now this is a, let's say, 20 by 30 by 30 centimeter box. I measured the top and it was about 65 degrees Celsius. I think the actual surface area of the resistors is more than 100, 120 or something like that. So that's fine for a while. You shouldn't leave it on too long. I noticed because, for example, the fan at the front of the PC, now it sucks air in and blows it through the resistor board stack out the back of the enclosure. So that was the idea, except it's a sleeve bearing fan. I don't know if that's good or bad. It's not a ball bearing, it's a sleeve bearing apparently. I don't know if that's crappier than ball bearing, but what I noticed was that the fan after some while started making noise. It's not permanently broken. If you let it cool down, then it's perfectly fine and it stays perfectly fine, but probably shouldn't use it for longer than 30 minutes. But that's fine. Most measurements just take a few minutes, so that's fine. So that's done now. Cleared a bit of space on the desk for other stuff. Now I'd like to talk a little bit about the previous project that I did about a year ago, I think. There was a small box. Actually, I made a video about that. I'll probably put it in the show notes if I don't forget. A small box with switches. Now there are 4 digital inputs, outputs, 4 digital IOs, and you can either supply a IO signal to the box, and the box will show the level using an LED, or you can flip the switch corresponding to each signal and output a high or a low. You can invert polarity, you can swap polarity by using another switch. So it has some intelligence in it. So it has a microcontroller in it for debouncing the switches to avoid glitches on the output. So it's a small box to debug slow digital signals, to quickly simulate a clock input or something like that. Or to quickly to hand clock an I2C signal or something like that. So I use that quite a lot. That's a nice thing. Now, something very similar, but not the same, is a box that I would like to make. I have some ideas about that. It's also not rocket science at all. A digital signal comes in, and that signal goes to different kinds of drivers. So one driver would be a normal TTL or CMOS buffer, like a buffer IC. Another would be push-pull CMOS FET pair, for example, to give a strong driver signal. Another one would be open collector or open drain. Then there's a relay. And then there's, for convenience, I think, a relay or a triac or both, connecting 230 volts AC to an output of that box. I don't know how safe or how useful that is, but I'll have to see. So you can quickly turn on or off devices, but I'll probably include a switch there that you can actually hand toggle that signal, or you can connect, for example, a function generator to the box. So you can have a device turn on and off at 10 Hertz or something like that. See how that works. That's basically it. So not a lot to say. No idea what will happen next week. I hope Piotr is back. And what I heard was that as winter is approaching, that his garage or shed or whatever it is he used to do welding is too cold to weld in. So then probably he'll come back inside and spend more time behind the PC, which is good, because behind the PC is where he does the podcasting. Downside of that is that because the garage is too cold, he'll probably do less welding, and I'm not sure if he does anything else. So I'm not sure if that's a win situation or not. We'll have to see. So right now we have to decide what to do for the upcoming Maker Faire in Dortmund in March, and either show an existing project or make something new. It depends on time and depends on if I can find interested people to come with me. So that was all for now. For more information, links and previous episodes, visit podcast.cba.si. Stay tuned, thanks for listening, and goodbye.